Hello and welcome to the Blackwater Podcast. More of this information will be in the actual episode itself, but overall, this will be a podcast where we talk about rock, metal, everything in between. Just for some context, we do record these quite a bit earlier than they are. So, just for context, this was recorded on the 16th of March, 2025. So, if you hear us in the podcast talking about certain albums we're looking forward to or certain stuff we've seen or certain stuff that's happening, that's the date we're recording this. And that will be a trend going forwards because we bulk record these before, so we have stuff in the thing. But in this episode, we talk about a bunch of bands and a bunch of questions to get to know us a bit more. We talk about some 2025 releases that we've been enjoying, and we give our reviews for Sepultura Beneath the Remains. And I hope you enjoy. And with that, I'll leave you off with Past Us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Blackwater Podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts Nick, B1dd0 and Vitor.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
And this is going to be a podcast which should be every week. We're going to talk about metal, rock, and basically everything in that sphere. There'll be all sorts of genres discussed and all sorts of topics. And it will kind of depend on the week what we're going to talk about. And for the very first episode, we thought it'd be a good idea to go through, is it 10 questions or 11 questions?
Yeah,
10 questions, just so you kind of get a feel for what we are, what bands we like, type of music we will be talking about on the podcast. But anybody been to any shows or got anything coming up?
Well, I have a wedding coming up, and aside from that, it's pretty much the same for me.
I'm seeing Ghost in May.
That's exciting.
I might be seeing Testament and Atheist this year, depending.
That's good. So it's like, what, the third band to ever come to Australia?
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
first time Atheist has actually ever been here.
I have two concerts
Yes.
coming up, but I can get to them while we do the questions because I don't want to disclose or undisclose anything right now. But I do have two concerts coming up.
All right. So we'll go, because it's just what's on my screen. Let's go Nick first, then Vitor, then B1dd0, then me, and go around like that. We've answered all of them. But the questions that we have are: what is a band you hate? What's a band you think is overrated? What is a band you think is underrated? What is a band you love? What is a band you can listen to over and over again? What is a band that made you fall in love with music? What is a band that changed your life? What is a band that surprised you? What band or artist is a guilty pleasure for you? And what's the best band you've seen live? And so, Nick, do you want to start us off with the first question? What is a band you hate?
Now, I'm pretty sure Connor probably already knows this. It's his
I think I know
absolute
too.
favorite band of all time.
I think I know too. Yeah, I know as well, actually.
It's his absolute favorite band of all time, Manowar.
Yeah, I knew it.
I think that band is horrendous. I don't know. I don't know how you like them, Connor.
Yeah,
I really don't.
We'll get more onto this later, but I completely agree with you on this.
Hey, he completely agrees.
Yeah.
Bro's
I love
big.
Nick on this shit.
Isn't Manowar your number one artist for 2025, Connor?
Let me check. That might have changed.
It probably
Might
is. Does that or Blind Guardian?
No, it's them or Magnum. Let me check. But I listened to Magnum today, so that might push them over the edge. Let's
I
check.
swear, Power Metal is all you listen to.
Yeah, Magnum has just beaten them.
It's still number
Well,
2,
it's
though, which
good
is way too high.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
number 2, and it's not even close, by the way. Those two bands are so far ahead. But we'll get more
At least
onto
the
that.
good band's number one.
All right, Vitor, what's the band you hate?
I'm not sure if I'm the person here among us that likes black metal the most. So maybe it's a surprising pick. I definitely like black metal a lot, and I'll talk more and more about it as we do more and more episodes. But the reason why I bring this up is because one of the bands I absolutely hate is Mayhem, and
Cool.
so a lot of black metal fans absolutely love Mayhem. I can't stand them, and it's not a matter of me personally. I believe in the philosophy of separating the art from the artist. If you can do it, you can do it. It's very personal. And so the reason why I say this is not, for me, Mayhem is not that I think they're bad guys. Okay, I think their music is bad, straight up. Okay, they have obviously a few good songs, but I cannot stand it. And how I like to listen to albums is sit down and listen to, or how I like to listen to music is listen to albums, and I cannot sit through a whole Mayhem album.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I just can't.
You need to. I feel like you need to respect them for the impact they had, but apart from that, like, I don't like them that much. But
Impact, I guess, but they also cause a lot of negative impact in black metal.
Yeah.
The stigma around it. Like, for instance, there's a lot of bands involved in black metal, like Ulcers, for instance, who in a way stand for something nice, I guess. Summoning as well. I think they have like not necessarily a bad aura. Like black metal doesn't have to have a bad aura around them. Okay, just because they start off with shitty production, like being super edgy, right? It doesn't mean that you have to be a horrendous person to make black metal or enjoy black metal. You know, so
Yeah.
maybe that's a bit of the stigma that Mayhem produced, but obviously musically a big inspiration for black metal for sure.
Yeah, Euronymous pretty much started the whole like tremolo picking thing in black metal.
Yes.
I just feel like they try
Right.
too hard to be edgy rather than focus on the music.
Yeah.
I feel like half the,
No.
and it's not this. I've not properly listened to them, so I'm probably the least last person that can complain. But I feel like more people care about the story behind Mayhem, which is far
Yeah.
more interesting than the music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, like if they didn't have the story behind them, they would not be famous.
Exactly. So
No, I think they would be known. I don't think they would be as mainstream as they are.
So
'Cause
probably Lords of Chaos damaged their reputation a lot, and how their story is perceived. But even then, there's just a lot of shit around them.
This is a tangent that we're probably always going to go on in these. But Lords of Chaos is such a fucking funny movie.
And it's so stupid.
It's a funny movie. Yes.
There's the part. You know how like the Ross was like an edge on. It was like no, only like a couple people are able to go to my record shop because they only treat in the film. There's Motley Crue albums in this record.
Another
But
big
no,
reason
Vitor-
why I don't like Mayhem is Dawn of the Black Hearts.
We were
The-
just talking about that like 10
yeah,
minutes
we'll
ago.
just talk about like.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
we started
Yeah,
recording.
Nick owns that on CD.
No,
by the way,
I actually have it on CD.
Listen, I'm not gonna give you shit for that. I just
Look.
think.
In my defense, I was like 14.
Listen, I'm
nearly
not
10
gonna give
years
you shit
ago
for it. It's just one of the reasons why I don't like the band.
Yeah, you're
But
on.
no, Vitor, I'm with you. I love black metal too, but I can't stand Mayhem at all. They're
All right, there
horrible.
we go. Yep.
The one we all agree on. All right, Bido, what's a band you hate?
band I hate is a band called Belphegor, and
Yeah.
they're just like they basically embody like cringy black metal edginess to me, because they're basically just a behemoth ripoff band who just try way too hard to be edgy, and they just look like losers, and it is so unbelievably cringeworthy that it makes one of the worst music known to mankind. I'm pretty sure Nick knows this, but like
I
know.
but I want to check it out just for that. But I don't.
they have this one album called like Bondage Goat Zombie or something like that, and there's like one of the songs on it, it's just moaning in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just a bunch of moaning in their songs. It's fucking weird.
Sorry guys, I'm sick. I tried to laugh, but it just did not come out. But that is hilarious.
Yeah, and like and musically, they're literally just a behemoth ripoff. That's all it is. They're just a behemoth ripoff.
My
It's
last
pretty
thing
much just
is a behemoth rap.
Behemoth from which
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
and
so
Behemoth alone aren't really that great.
Sure. The band I hate is one I doubt I'll get much pushback from. And it's there's a lot of bands I hate, so this was pretty hard to narrow down. But the band I hate and the band I chose for this is Disturbed. Not only
Horrible band.
not only are they horrible people, the music is just horrendous. I have sat through I think 3 of their albums, So like, I didn't mind some of their songs when I was first getting into metal when I was like 15, 16. But I genuinely think if you're beyond the age of 16 and listening to Disturbed, there's
no hope for you.
I do a job as a kid.
Down with the Sickness is one of the worst albums I've ever listened to. They're just awful. Like I think David Draymond writes about abuse, despite the fact he's admitted he never got abused as a kid. And it's just, I don't know. They come off as massive posers. They come off as Zionists, because they are. I think even if they were great people, the music is horrendous. So not for the people, but the music itself is awful. Now,
the only thing they're good for really is just like an entry level band. But even then, there's like 50 million other bands you can.
Also, this is really niche reference, but they this is not going to make sense to anyone here, but Nick, I don't think. But they did a remix for Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme music that they used for the best WrestleMania, and it's so bad because his music, for those who don't know, is like one of those iconic music. It's so good. It's such a good walkout music, and they remix it, and you got David Draymond like singing over it, and it's so bad.
It's about wrestling, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the best walkout musics ever, and David Draymond did a remix of it. And they use it for like his most iconic moments. So if you're watching that moment, you have to listen to it. It's not good. Nick, what do you think is overrated?
Well, you probably already know this answer, but Pantera.
Oh my god.
We are on the same wavelength there, but
yeah, same.
I'm the only one that likes Pantera in this podcast.
I really don't like Dimebag's tone. I think their riffs are kind of meh. I don't really think they're all that. I just think there's heaps better groove metal bands like Machine Head. Even Groove Sepultura is better.
Okay, let me draw a line there. Hold on, let me draw a line there. Okay. Groove Sepultura is absolute peak. That's not fair. Okay, that's a whole separate. That's a whole separate thing. That's a whole separate thing.
I'm going to choose a different band now because that was also my pick for the most overrated band. But I will also stand by. They should have kept making US power metal because it's more interesting than anything they fucking made after it. Cowboys first half is awesome, and then they just forget to write good songs after it. And then for the rest of the 90s, they just forget to write good songs. And the production is horrendous. I don't get how people like their production.
The only thing I'll give him credit for is I think Rex is a good bassist.
Yeah.
I feel like he's heavily underutilized in that band.
Benny is a good drummer too.
Yeah, he was a good drummer. I feel like Rex.
I just don't like his tone after the 80s. Like you listen to his stuff in the 80s and it's really good, and then
it's not.
It is.
There's no.
Listen to the song. I think it's called Ninja from Project in the Jungle. That's a great song. But
Floods is the only song I can actually listen to.
For Pantera, I will say that one of their big weaknesses for me is not a vast discography. And there's stuff that I like. I pretty much only really find myself listening to 3 of their albums, and that's Cowboys, Vulgar Display of Power, and Far Beyond Driven. Everything else, I don't get much replayability, at least to my taste.
Sorry for interrupting, but if it brings up the fucking domination breakdown one more time, I'm actually
it's the most overplayed breakdown of all time.
The worst part about that song is like Dime's doing a really good solo before that, and then they just ruined it with this breakdown that's so boring.
It was a phenomenal solo.
It's a good breakdown when you're new to metal, but after you've heard many more better breakdowns.
Bro, literally just listen to fucking Clone by Gojira.
Any Gojira breakdown is better than that. I'm sorry. Global Warming, Backbone.
Gojira's best breakdown is for sure War Dragon as well.
Oh, that's good too. Legit, any Gojira breakdown clears
For
Pantera.
sure, my favorite one. Might be my favorite breakdown in metal, actually.
So,
All right, Vitor, what a band do you think is overrated?
As you guys know as well, I would imagine, I think through my Twitter interactions, I love progressive rock, progressive metal, and a band that's been getting a lot of buzz in that genre. It's a bit more technical, and that's why I think it's extremely overrated, because I'm not a big technical guy in the progressive genre. Like, I'm not a big Animals as Leaders guy. And the band that I'm talking about is very close to Animals as Leaders, and that's Periphery. I'm not sure if you guys actually listen or
I
like.
agree with you so much.
I love
Periphery.
I gave
I
him a
love
shot. I gave him multiple shots. It's not for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
When it comes to progressive, I focus on the melodies, and I couldn't get those melodies out of Periphery. Maybe I have to give it another listen, perhaps. But
What album did you listen to?
let me pull up the names, because I don't remember them by heart. So let me just visualize their discography, and I'll let you know. So I listened to their 2023 5,
Gent is not a genre.
but it wasn't the
That's
first
such
one
a
I
shit
listened to. The first one that I listened to, I think, was either Select Difficulty or Omega, one of those two.
Which one?
2015 and 2016 albums.
The double album?
It's a double album.
Is it Omega and Alpha?
Yeah, Omega. Yeah, see Omega Alpha, but I didn't listen to Alpha. I think I listened to Omega, and then I remember this yellow cover. I think I listened to Select Difficulty.
No, I was gonna say that if you like
Okay.
melody, I thought you'd like Select Difficulty, but no, it's alright.
Then maybe I'll give it another listen. But I listened to 2 as well, for sure. I missed 2.
It's
I
their
listened
most
to
melodic.
2 for sure.
Three's their most melodic.
Okay, so I'll give that one a shot again.
P5 is also, or P4, sorry, is also pretty melodic at points.
I see.
The
A
only
lot
one
of my
I've heard
friends like Periphery, but just my take on it right now.
The only Periphery album I've heard is Hail Stan, and it was super mid.
It's P4. I like it. It Only Smiles is a good song. I love that song.
Peter, what's a band do you think are overrated?
So I know for a fact every single one of you is gonna cook me so hard
I
for this,
know
but I don't give a
I
fuck.
know it.
It's Dream Theater.
Yeah, I knew it. Fuck
That is so
yeah, honestly.
crazy, bro.
And thank you everyone for watching Blackwater Pod. This was
Yeah.
We're kicking bit off the podcast.
See, you guys call me Hitler. You guys are literally like
Vote
dictators.
to kick this co-host.
Vote kick.
Yeah, but no, I think Dream Theater, like, I don't think Dream Theater is that bad. Like, I don't know, they're just, I've tried to listen to them so many times, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't.
I won't give you shit because it's not for everyone. The lyrical style of Labrie is really not for everyone.
His early stuff, like the early Dream
No,
Theater,
different.
like
I
interesting
love
words.
I get not liking like what's
The
the
newest stuff.
first double album? No, the newest one as well. But what's the first double album? Like after Metropolis, I get not liking those albums, like the 2000s albums. I get not liking them. But come on, Images and Words, Awake.
I will say though, me personally, and again, this is not me giving you shit, right? But I cannot see myself not liking Scenes from a Memory or Awake or, at least
really.
Images and Words. At the very least, those 3, I could not see myself without those albums in my life, really.
Have you listened to Train of Thought or not?
No.
That's the heavy album. That's the album you can tell they kind of went for more like, it's not as proggy, it's more straight ahead. But
As I Am is like probably their most like.
I think if Beauty's gonna like Dream Theater, I think maybe Panic Attack.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I love Panic Attack.
Maybe that song, like, it's like the opening riff is kind of cool, but like after the opening riff ends, I just kind of get bored.
Well,
I don't know.
did you
I
did you
think
listen to A Nightmare to Remember?
I think the main thing is that I tend to not like just like pure prog metal. I tend to only like prog metal if it's like mixed with death metal or
I
something.
hear you.
Like the only like pure prog metal I like is Devin Townsend. That's about it.
Townsend is so good.
Like I at least want some harsh vocals at least, and like some
Yeah,
that's
totally
heaviness,
fair.
like some
Yeah.
heaviness.
Dude,
'Cause, like-
Townsend is so good.
Because I think prog metal where it's like where it doesn't have elements of extreme metal, I don't know. It just kind of it just doesn't really hit super hard for me. Like it just kind of falls flat.
Mhm.
No, I get that. It's
hear
really
you.
not for everyone.
It is definitely not for everyone.
Connor, what band did you pick for overrated again?
I'll make mine quick. I did pick Pantera, but with further stuff, I'm just gonna say Led Zeppelin. I think are overrated. I don't get the
Oh.
appeal. I don't get the appeal of listening to a bunch of moaning pedophiles. That I don't
up.
get it. I just even if they, once again, it's like Disturbed. Even if they were good people, I don't get the appeal. I've really tried. I've really tried with them, but I don't like Jimmy Page's guitar. I don't get the hype with the drums. I hate the vocals. I've tried, I think 4, 5 of their albums, and I don't get any of them. I own Led Zeppelin 4 because I think when I first bought vinyl, I was like, oh, that's the album I need to own. And I can understand like Stairway to Heaven is a phenomenal song. But for most of their songs, I just find it like downright unlistenable.
Their best album, in my opinion, is Physical Graffiti.
Not saying much.
I love Physical Graffiti with a passion. I love this album.
I've not listened to that, but the thought of sitting through an entire double album of Led Zeppelin it's too painful.
It's for sure their most creative work, in my opinion.
See, I have a bit of a hot take.
Mm.
Why would you want to listen to Led Zeppelin when Greta Van Fleet does what they do but better?
They don't.
They don't make it better. I think it's just a
Except-
plain copy of Led Zeppelin.
Exactly, that's why it's good. They're not pedophiles either.
Okay, but if you're gonna say that they're a copy and say
But the
that
music-
one is good and one is bad, no.
Being
Let
a
me push
copy
my
of
agenda.
something shit doesn't make you not shit. If someone
Let me-
was like,
let me
"Oh
just-
yeah, I'm copying Disturbed," that doesn't make them a good band. They're still shit because they're copying an awful band.
Let me push my agenda, okay? Greta Van Fleet is better than Led Zeppelin. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough.
But I do like Van Vliet though.
Listeners, if you couldn't tell, we are going to go very off topic on a lot of these podcasts. It's just how people we are.
I
And
think
it's
it's the best way. I think it's the best way to do it.
I don't agree. I'm not complaining. I'm just
Oh yeah, no,
he's
yeah.
arguing me long and he's arguing me winding, but hopefully you find them
Yes.
interesting.
Mhm.
Nick, what is a band you think are underrated?
Ooh. So I've gone with a bit of a pick, a gem here. So if you like death metal, you'll probably know this band. I picked Pungent Stench.
I've heard of them, but I've never listened to them.
I've heard about them.
They're like,
I've not listened to them because their album covers kind of turn me off from listening to them.
yeah, it's not, the album covers are not great, but they're like death metal, but they're like sort of groovy. Like they have lots of groove in their music. Viva La Verte, I think that's how you say it. That song's probably their best song. And the vocals are just good vocals, good riffs. It's just a good band. Very underrated.
I
I
say
say
that.
no,
I'll give it a
but-
listen. But I will say,
It's a good album.
what is it? Dirty Rhymes
cover's
and
horrible.
Psychotronic Beats is a whole. What in the actual fuck am I looking at?
Then the cover's horrible.
All the
the-
other covers are like fine. It's just
Yeah,
this
it's horrible.
one.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, I'll take a look at them.
What's the band you think is underrated, Vitor?
I think I've already talked about this band with you guys, and it's one of my best finds that I've found personally, and that's Dark Fortress. I don't like. I never
Yes.
see people talking about it. I never see people talking about them. They split up when which is a complete shame. I was hoping for more albums. I was hoping for maybe a chance of seeing them live in the future. Dark Fortress are criminally underrated. Criminally underrated. If you like death metal and you like black metal, this is like and progressive as well. Like this is the perfect shit for you. Really, it has everything. I think they do what they're trying to do so well. Their earlier work is much faster, but later on they do get more progressive, I guess. But still very much black metal, and I think it's absolutely great.
Good band.
I love
Just
Dark
proves that
Fortress.
Germany has the best metal.
Yeah, yes.
No, my country does.
No, Denmark does not have the best metal, unfortunately.
Good thing I'm not from Denmark.
Yes, you are. Don't lie.
And you're from Turkey, bitch.
I'm not a Turk.
Guys, let's not get heated to do with countries. I don't want to get us all cancelled on that.
Yes, we all know Norway is great.
What's an underrated band?
So for me, an underrated band is a band called Clouds.
I've seen you talk about them.
They are like
Big.
atmospheric death doom, I guess you could call it. I randomly got recommended them. I was asking for death doom / gothic doom recs on a Twitter post, and some random guy I'd never seen before recommended them to me. I was like, okay, I'll check them out. I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best doom metal I've ever heard in my life. They incorporate lots of like other instruments than just guitar, bass, and drums and keys, which I like. Like they use a lot of like violins and flutes and stuff like that, which I think is really cool.
That's very folky.
Yeah, they're very very folky, but they're folky in like a very unique way. They're also
Folky and doom sounds fun.
very, very depressing. They're not happy music. Now, if you know me, you know I love that, but I understand not everybody does. So, but I think you should check them out if you like sad, very sad doom metal.
I wasn't a fan of the newest album. Oh, it's good, but it dragged
liked
on
it a
for a
lot.
little bit. I only heard like 2 of the albums.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Connor, it's your pick now.
Yes.
for this topic, I think all of us will all agree. We all listen to loads of bands that are not popular. We listen to loads of bands that no one has heard of, and so I kind of wanted to go for a band for this topic that I think could have made it but didn't. So they're like underrated in that sense. I decided that the band I was going to pick is a band called Hellstar. Now, Hellstar is so US power metal. For those who don't know, was a scene in the early '80s. Loads of bands people know from there. Sirithongo, Dark Age. There are other bands. Crimson Glory were there. A bunch of others, basically. But a lot Manila Road. But a lot of that sound kind of doesn't really sound like power metal as people would know it today. It more sounds like kind of like epic trad. Hellstar just sound like Halloween, but they started in there like 1983, 1984. I am shocked that they did not blow up because I know, Nick, you've heard, is it Nosferatu you've heard?
Yeah, Nosferatu, the one with the vampire on it.
It does not sound like an 80s album. They just, and by the way, Nick, you've heard the album that came out in 1989. They released an album in 1984 that has the exact same sound as that. 1984. This is like Power Slave and stuff like that. Bands weren't doing this type of stuff, and they're a band I think deserve a lot more attention. And their first 4 albums, because I've not heard anything after that. Just purely, they kind of broke up and then reunited, and then broke up again and then reunited, did all that stuff. But they're a band I think are severely underrated and aren't brought up like when we talk about the importance of bands. They are never like people go Halloween for the first big power metal band. I think Hellstar deserve much more notice, and I'd highly recommend their first 4 albums. I think they're basically all perfect. So yeah, Hellstar is my pick.
Lovely.
I
check them out as well.
Nick, what is a band that you love?
Now, everyone probably here knows this band, but I've
Mhm.
put down Nile.
I love Nile
W
so
based,
much.
based, based.
So based.
Nile. I haven't been a fan of them for too long. I listened to them the first time last year, about maybe this time last year. I might have been Annihilation. I think that was the album I heard. And
So
also, I
good.
remember just being blown away. It was awesome. And since then, I've loved them. They're one of my favorite death metal bands. I
Hey,
love that they incorporate like Egyptian sounds into their music. I can't remember what the actual name is.
Yeah, like traditional Egyptian music.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it's very unique and it's very immersive.
I think it's unbelievable how consistent they are. Like,
Yeah,
it's
they've
so
only got
hard
like one bad album.
for like it's so hard for deaf tech bands to be so consistent, and
Yeah, I agree.
they're so consistent. It's unbelievable.
They've only got one stinker, in my opinion.
No, they have. I
No,
don't think I've ever heard a
there's
bad
one
song
album I
from
don't like.
them. Not a
There's only
single
one
bad
album I'm
album.
not a fan of.
Mm.
I also think it
But the
goes
rest,
to show that, like, I'm not a tech. People know that I'm not really a tech death guy. It's just not my type of thing. I really like the Nile albums I've heard. I don't love them as much as you lot do because it's just not really my thing. But like, they do tech death in a way that the technicality never really gets in the way of there being good melodies and good. But that's my issue with tech death. Is sometimes it's like, oh, there's so much going on, it just kind of gets too much. I feel like Nile never really suffer from that. They always kind of write good songs and have technicality over it, which I think
There's something so niche about their song that always grabs my attention when I listen to them is how well they incorporate their vocals with what the instruments are doing. Like,
yeah, it's like another instrument.
yeah, exactly. It's literally another instrument. Um, Often in deaf, sometimes the vocals are just thrown in there, and the instruments are like doing a fuckload of shit, right? But with Nio, it just sounds so smooth, and it's so hard for a tech deaf band to do that, but they do it so well.
Nyla probably honestly, I mean, Nyla probably also just like one of the absolute heaviest death metal bands. Like they are fucking brutal as
Yeah,
shit.
they are, which makes no sense how they're like so smooth. It's so tight. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I consider them like tech death and brutal death at the same time, just because how fucking heavy they are.
And they're absolute peak at both. Absolute peak at both.
They really are.
Because they take a lot of inspiration from like Cryptopsy and Suffocation, so I consider them brutal death metal too.
Yeah.
No, obviously, I think you're talking about the slam band Suffocation.
Bam Bam Suffocation.
Shut the fuck up.
We'll get to maybe in a separate episode. We'll talk about our least favorite and our favorite genres, and I have my opinion on slam.
Yeah,
I think we all have our opinions on slam.
yeah.
I think we all have the same opinions.
Okay, great, lovely.
Okay, who's next?
Anyway.
I think it's Vito's next. Yeah.
No, Vitor's next.
Yes. What is the band I love? For this one,
sorry.
I try to think of not just one of my favorite bands. I could have easily just said something like Porcupine Tree or Opeth here. I try to fit them in some better questions. And I love a lot of bands. I listen to a lot of things, but I'll give credit to a band I completely fell in love with recently. I just recently discovered them, which was a bit of a surprise to me because I'm such a big Summoning fan, one of my all-time favorite bands.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and this band is it's literally just a homage to Summoning, which is why I completely fell in love with them. They are so good. They only made one album, and it's a crime that they only did one album, and it's Calendar Brood.
Hell yeah, they fuck
love-
so hard.
I love Echoes of Battle so much, dude. I love the cover. I love the sound.
Yeah. I know
just
what
so good. It's to people who like Summoning, they like atmospheric black metal. This is as good as it gets. Really, it's so
It's a
good.
must listen.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And I'm it's a shame that I just like 2 months ago discovered his album, but it's so good. It's ridiculous.
Seb recommended me that album months ago, and I still haven't listened to it yet.
I have to buy the LP. I love the cover so much.
Yeah, Seb recommended it to me. We did an album trade, and I listened to it, and I just fucking it was great.
Well, now that you said it sounds like Summoning, now I'm more interested.
Yeah, it's literally a summoning. It's literally a summoning worship band.
It's Greta Van Fleet for Led Zeppelin, but Calling the Brute for Summoning. There you go.
I might listen to that tonight then.
Anyways,
Okay, what's the band you love?
Me?
yes.
Yeah. Right. So since this is kind of the first episode, if you follow me on Twitter, if you know, or if you just know me, you probably know what my favorite band is. But I thought I'd bring it up anyways for those who don't know. So my favorite band of all time, bar none, is Opeth. With the only band maybe coming close is Dissection. But so I mean, I don't really know what there is to say about Opeth that hasn't really already been said. I mean, they're probably, they're in my opinion the most consistent metal band ever. I mean, I don't think they have a single album that I don't think is amazing. I mean, Heritage and Sorceress, like a little bit worse, I guess, but I still really like those albums.
They're still so good with some extremely good songs on them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Sorceress title track, that song is a fucking banger.
Also, Pale Communion gets a lot of hate from some Opeth fans, and I absolutely love Pale Communion.
Pale Communion is great.
Very much. So
I prefer In Count of Venom though. In Count of Venom is like a top 5, maybe top 4 Opeth album for me. I love that album so much.
You see, there's no wrong Opeth ranking.
Exactly.
They're so all over the place, and there's nothing that sounds the same from one album to the next. Everything is unique. You can tell, like, if you listen to a song,
Morning Rise and Orchid kind of sound the same, but yeah.
Morning Rise is a little bit darker when I listen to it. In a way, I guess.
Yeah, but they have like the same sound.
So. Yeah, they're definitely the most similar albums to one another. But if you listen to just a random song, you can just like kind of grab the feeling of where it would be in an album. They're very distinct.
Heir Apparent and Burden are on the same album though, so.
Yeah.
I feel like Opeth are a band throughout the podcast, like we're going to be talking a lot about.
Yeah.
Come on.
Good reason.
Yeah, very good reason.
I mean, look at the name of the podcast, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Blackwater Park is the only reason why it's not my favorite album of all time is because of Fear of a Blank Planet. I've said it to you guys multiple times. Fear of a Blank Planet is my favorite album of all time, and Blackwater Park is just behind it. So.
Yeah, the only reason Blackwater Park isn't my favorite album of all time is a little album called Storm of the Light's Bane.
Storm of the Light's Bane, yeah. You would say it.
Also peak,
yeah.
Yeah. So
too bad John was a prick.
Yeah. I think pricks put it lightly. But a band that I love is a very more recent band than I think a lot of the other bands. Actually, no, not a lot of the other bands we're talking about, because we talk about a lot more recent stuff on here. But it's a band called Green Lung. And
yes,
they're a band that I kind of got into them just before they really blew up. I know Nick especially will tell anyone, when I first got into them, I did not shut up about them. I think they are the best modern band. I think Black Harvest is a top 5 album of all time. I think it's that good. They get a lot of shtick, in my opinion, quite wrongly, for just being a Black Sabbath clone, which I think they're just not. And then they got shtick for being a Ghost clone, which they're just really not. But 1 EP, 3 full albums. It's just really good to see a modern band doing that kind of sound and being big. Like, I don't think people really kind of understand, especially, and maybe not in the US and in other places, they're not that big, but in the UK, they are playing the same places that bands like Blind Guardian play and selling them out. You know, they're playing big theaters. and it's just really good for a very local band and a band that I've luckily met, and they're lovely guys. But yeah, I'd highly recommend giving any of their albums a try. I think the most recent one got a bit more shtick because they obviously tried to like expand their sound a bit, but I think it's great.
It's one of the best albums in 2023.
Yeah, I think I cannot wait for their next album, which hopefully is coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
But
isn't it this year?
Well, if it follows the trend of their other releases, it will. But they've not announced anything. But it wouldn't shock. So don't. But yeah. So, Nick, what is a band that you can listen to over and over again?
I'm sure this is going to shock you guys. Creator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who saw that coming? I don't know what it is with that band. I just can't stop listening to them. I don't. It's very addicting. It's very. I don't know. It just makes my ears happy.
Sorry, Nick. I missed the band you said. What was it?
Creator.
Okay.
I
like Creator as well.
I love their lyrics. I love Millie's vocals. Unlike someone else, not naming names. I like the riffs, the drumming. I like the incorporation of like melody and aggression. Their choruses, especially them modern Creators choruses, are always just very peak. They're very catchy. But it doesn't stray away from their sound. It still sounds like Creator.
I'm not a massive
Apart
fan
from like a
of
couple
stuff, but yeah, I'm not a massive fan of like their early '90s stuff. Well, not early '90s because that includes Cover Soul, but like Renewal, I'm not a massive fan of. No.
Apart from 4 albums in the '90s, they never really. Oh, maybe 2 albums because Outcast is still pretty. Not Outcast. Cause for Conflict is still pretty thrashy, but Outcast and Endorama are pretty much their only non-thrash albums.
Yeah, I
like them.
One of my favorite thrash bands, easily.
I feel like they're probably the most consistent thrash band.
Dark Angel.
Yeah, they're up there too.
I'd also put Voivod up there, but that's just because they're my favorite thrash band.
Do you guys prefer Come Out of Souls or Pleasure to Kill?
Pleasure to Kill.
I Pleasure to Kill, but just.
I have the important opinion that Terrible Certainty is my favorite because I love how melodic it is. I like the fact they took a risk and went for a more melodic, less heavy, and I think it really paid off.
Yeah.
Also, like the songwriting on Terrible Certainty. If it's like it focuses less on like what they were doing on Pleasure to Kill, which is more like brutality lyrics.
Yeah.
And on Terrible Certainty, they start like including like social issues and world problems.
In Vitor, what's a band that you can listen to over and over again?
This is my favorite band of all time. This is Porcupine Tree. I've listened to them since I was little, and I can't go a day without listening to at least a song. I love this band with all my heart. I wouldn't say I was gonna say from top to bottom, but their very first album is an extremely experimental album. It's almost a meme album, really. So, 99% of Porcupine Tree, I'm just their number one fan, really.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get into them for a while now.
They have a lot of good albums, different albums, depending on what type of prog metal you like. But you really can't miss. They really flipped the switch in Stupid Dream. Before that, they were really mostly progressive rock, and I loved that era as well. But after that, they really do. Steven Wilson really does change his sound. Stupid Dream, I love it.
Yeah.
A band I can listen to over and over and over and over again is a band called Necrophagist.
Yes. Speak.
I think Mohammed Swishmes is the best metal guitarist of all time, and I think it's not close at all. Or Carl Sanders is close, but Mohammed Swishmes, I mean, he is just a fucking I don't understand how you come up with this stuff. Like it's just like it sounds like it was made by aliens. Like it does not sound human at all.
It's also very clean and very precise.
Yeah, it's insane. Like I don't
It's
like,
very tight. It's very tight.
I'd say he's definitely top 3, 100%.
yeah. Like it was just the fucking guitar solo on Fermented Awful Discharge is just it blows my mind every time. I mean, yeah, I mean they have amazing riffs. They have the best guitar solos of all time, in my opinion. They have fucking great drumming. I think Muhammad's vocals are great too. I mean everything about that band is great. The only thing that's not great is that they only have 2 albums. Muhammad, you have the 3rd album on a USB stick. Release it.
I'd rather bands have short peak discographies than long drawn out ones that aren't.
But
That's
yeah, but when you
consistent.
have an album that's finished, fucking release it.
Yeah, that's annoying. It's another band, a band I like called Tree. Connor knows them. They've done the same thing. No, but Necrophagists are awesome.
Yeah, they're one of my absolute favorite death metal bands of all time. Probably my favorite death metal band of all time that isn't a melodeath band.
That's a good pick.
All right. Well, the band I can listen to over and over again is proving I'm the big softie of the group because I've not picked much, if any, death or stuff like that metal. And I'm not going to change it with this. The band I can listen to over and over again is a band called Magnum. I'm making my my British pals very happy here because Magnum are my most listened to band of the year. And yeah, I think they're phenomenal. I think if they're kind of like a mix of Queen with some progginess, with a bit of heaviness, with a bit of AOR. They're just happy, but they sing about real subjects. Like they sing about war and they sing about you know people on hard times and stuff. But they just make me happy. And they've got 4 albums in the early 80s: Chase the Dragon, The 11th Hour, On a Storyteller's Night, and Vigilante, which I think are just 4 of the best albums of all time. I love them so much. I listen to Chase the Dragon almost every week. And then more modern stuff is great as well. We unfortunately lost Tony Clarkin, their guitarist, 2 years ago, and the band's not going to continue on because now only one original member, and Tony Clarkin was the main songwriter. But if you ever get a chance, just search up their album covers. And I know, Nick, you've listened to Chase the Dragon, right?
Yeah, that's the one with the unicorn, yeah?
Yeah. No, the one with the... no, that's Vigilante. You might have listened to Vigilante. But their albums sound exactly like their covers look. They sound mythical. They sound creative. They're so good. I think they're very underrated. They were another band in the UK that were very, very close to breaking big. But just they did the mistake all British bands do, which is try to pander to the American crowd during the glam metal era, and it just didn't work because no matter how big Bob Catley's hair got, they just didn't work. And I think if they'd stuck in Britain, they would have made it. But it's unfortunate. But they are one of my favorite bands ever, and they're one of the just a band I can listen to over and over again, as the question would make it seem. But Nick, what's a band that made you fall in love with music?
It's probably an obvious question, but AC/DC. That band is probably the reason I like metal at all, honestly. It's like growing up here in Australia, obviously, especially late 2010s. Not so much nowadays. It's kind of back late 2010s, early 2010s. But that band was probably a band was everywhere. They've been everywhere here for years. You can't really escape them because they're here. But I remember how old was I? Maybe 5 or 6. My dad were in the car and he played Hard as a Rock by AC/DC, and that was like the first core memory I have of like listening to music. And since then, they've just been my favorite band of all time.
I think that most people's gateway into heavier music. They're a very good band for that.
I love every single album by them, even the not so loved ones. I love Connor's favorite is the Razor's Edge, by the way.
It's that album everyone likes, and it has like 3 good songs, and the rest is so. The rest is
And Connor's
so.
also favorite is Stiff Upward. That's his ultimate favorite
That
album.
was just awful. That was bad. But no,
Chill
I
on
like
Stiff Upward. That's not good.
No, it's bad.
It's the worst album. I'll agree.
So what's
Still
the band that made you fall in love with music?
I definitely think I was already listening to metal. Iron Maiden was the very first band that I recognized, and I started liking music with Iron Maiden. But what made me fall in love with music and like when I first discovered what like feeling goosebumps with music was with Rammstein. Um, I'm not sure how much Rammstein you guys listen to, but
I've heard one album.
I mean I know their discography through and through. Since I was little, when I was 8, 9, 10, the only thing I would ever listen to was strictly Rammstein. And then I realized, okay, I like this type of music. I want to discover other stuff, and some other stuff came there for after. But I remember I had Facebook at the time. Yeah, I'm uncle, guys. I had Facebook, and
Nick has it
I
too, don't worry.
and
I'll be posting on there.
I was listening to let me confirm the song. It was either Zestoren or Fire Navasser. It was a song by the album Rosenrot. I'm not sure which song. It was either one of the two. Maybe it was Wobisdu. I think it was actually Wobisdu. Anyways, and I think I was 8 at the time. And I shared the song on Facebook. And I said, well, in Portuguese, but translating it, I said, this song is so fucking good. And I'm 8 years old, right? 5 minutes later, my dad walks in my room like, why are you saying this on Facebook? And I'm like, it's so fucking good. And then he listened and he was like, yeah, you're right. It really is fucking good. So I love Rammstein.
I wasn't too big on the album I listened to, but then no, it's not hard. They're not bad. But
It's a very good gateway into metal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Rammstein fans are annoying though, especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
I've had that experience as well, yes.
Well, you can say that about
The Tik-
most popular metal fan bases.
Honestly, just TikTok fans.
It's such a
in general.
massive fucking fan base. It's
But I will say their concerts are fucking awesome. Like when
their
Naz
concerts are
pulls out the
phenomenal.
flamethrower.
Fucking crazy pyro.
I hope I can get to see one concert from them.
The only thing that really sucks about Rammstein is that Till Lindemann is not a good person.
No, he's not.
Also, that's not good. I don't like his vocals that much. But that's just me.
But they do have Paul Enders, who seems to be quite
I like
nice.
the guitar.
Right? The guitar work is phenomenal. It's super simple and it's so good.
I like their tone a lot as well, even though I'm not the biggest fan of their music.
I love keyboards. I love Rammstein.
Yeah.
Definitely not the worst pick ever. It's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely that better.
So for the pretty vast majority of my life, I didn't really like rock music and stuff like that. But it was until I heard one specific band that I realized oh, rock music is actually really good. And that's a band called Pink Floyd.
Oh, yes, go.
Hey.
Let's go.
I listened to
Connor,
so bass.
Connor's human.
I listened to the song Another Brick in the Wall.
Oh my god.
I listened to that song. I was like, damn, this is actually kind of cool. And then I listened to more songs off The Wall. I didn't listen to the entirety of The Wall since it's so fucking long. I was like, I didn't want to listen to that because I was still a casual music listener back then.
Right.
But Pink Floyd is what made me it's what made me become actually interested in music outside of just entertainment. So I owe that to them.
Do you
listen to them a whole lot
Sorry.
nowadays? Or you can go. What are you gonna say?
Quick question. because I want to ask you this because I remember my experience with this song, so I want to ask if you do as well. Do you remember your first time listening to Echoes or no?
Huh?
Do you remember your
I
first
don't-
time listening to
I fell
Echoes?
asleep halfway through. It's just a bit boring.
Oh, shut up, Connor.
Echoes
Fucking
to
asshole.
me is easily a top 10 song of all time. Like,
Hmm.
easy.
Well, I don't
easy.
like them that much, but it's definitely a good song.
I'm joking. I don't mind that song.
My favorite Pink Floyd song for sure.
I think the main reason is because back then when I saw like the super long songs on like Wish You Were Here and stuff like that, back then I was like, ooh, I don't want to listen to that. That's too long. Nowadays I love that stuff, but back
Yes.
then
That's my favorite Pink Floyd album.
Their best songs, in my opinion, are the longer songs. Shine on You Crazy
Yeah, exactly.
Diamond, Dogs, Echoes.
That's my favorite. Shun You Crazy Diamonds. That's
My favorite
Pink Floyd song.
my favorite Pink Floyd song is Time, just because of the guitar solo.
Banger.
Literally
But
just because of the guitar solo.
listen to Dark Side of the Moon High is a different experience. Though. It's fun as fuck.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Moon is definitely a little overrated, but I think it's a good album still.
I can never pick between Dark Side and The Wall. Sometimes I'm saying The Wall is better. The other moment I'm saying Dark Side is better. I really don't know. Sometimes I'm saying Wish You Were Here is their best work.
I think it's Wish You Were
I
Here
think-
for me.
Yeah, Wish You is my favorite.
I probably think
Right
it's
on.
Dark Side, but it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, my favorite's
pick
definitely not the final cut.
Definitely not.
Action. No, it definitely is. That's my favorite.
Okay. I definitely think Final Cut has the best Pink Floyd solo in my opinion. In Fletcher Memorial Home. Fletcher Memorial Home is a beautiful song.
Honestly, you could say any Pink Floyd solo is the best, and you probably
Yeah,
right.
you could talk
Yeah.
about, you could say it's Dogs. Talk about Time just now. I mean, yeah, really hard to say.
Connor, your turn.
The band that made me fall in love with music is a band that in the UK, if you say you don't like them, I think they kill you. And there's a band called Queen. Queen was the first album I was ever given. I got given a compilation of I think their first 3 greatest hits. So I had all of their hits basically.
Mhm.
And it just made me fall in love with music kind of as a thing. I listen to it every night. I looked through the booklet, and of course, in the booklet has all the single covers, which maybe they're more interested in. Music, back in the day wasn't really something you listened to; it was something you bought, and it was something you did stuff with. And
Yes.
seeing all the single covers with all the unique art, I was like, that's really cool. And then I kind of, stopped listening to music for a while, sort of into secondary. But in early secondary, I was like, I really like I want to listen to their full albums. And they were the first band I listened to an entire discography by. And I think that you get a real appreciation for Queen when you listen to the full albums, because I think their full albums are so good. I think their early stuff is metal. I know people don't want to claim they were ever a metal band, but their first stuff is metal. Stone Cold Crazy is basically a speed metal song. But I love all their stuff. I love the 80s arena rock stuff. I don't like the disco stuff, to be fair. I think it's just shit. I like the more poppy stuff. I love them. And were the band that made me kind of really get into music and rock music specifically. Them and David Bowie were the 2 I got into first.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Queen have so many underrated deep cuts.
Yeah. For one of the biggest bands in the world, they're still somehow underrated by most rock and metal fans, in my opinion. I think they don't
all
get
people really know as like the hit songs.
I don't think they get the respect they deserve, especially for the impact and influence they had on metal. They don't get that not often.
And Brian May is just such an elegant guitar player.
Yeah. And he can shred in his early days as well.
Yeah, he's a very, very good player.
So aggressive.
His riffs are really good too. Great songwriter.
Right. Nick, what's a band that changed your life?
Now, I'm going to get cooked for this one, but you have to let me explain myself. I put
Let's
Slipknot down.
Okay, why is that?
even though, okay, so you need to understand this. I was,
I
I
understand
think,
it.
14, 15 when I
Mhm.
I heard of metal. I liked whatever my dad played, but I never really delved myself too deep into it. But
Mhm.
when I first heard Slipknot when I was like 14, that was the first band, like first metal band I fully listened to. That
Yeah.
Con with Queen. That's the first metal band, full metal band I listened to discography wise.
Mhm.
And it like blew 14-year-old me's mind. Like,
Mhm.
even though I'm not really a big fan of them nowadays, I don't listen to them a lot now. But I'll always appreciate them. I'll have a soft spot in my heart for them, even if I
I
think
hear you.
Clown's a fucking idiot,
Mhm.
and I get really pissed off at what they do sometimes. But
That's completely
yeah,
valid.
I kind of stopped listening to them after I started listening to underground bands.
Mhm.
To be honest,
You grew up, some may say.
So to put it
I
short,
still
they made you. They made who you are musically.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like without that band, I wouldn't have gotten deeper into metal.
Yeah.
So I'll always
Well,
respect.
I hear you. With my
Oh, yeah.
answer for a
It's your
band that
turn now.
changed my
Okay.
life,
Yeah, your turn now.
I'll go with a different approach on the answer. You went with something that kind of got you into metal. I was already into metal when I discovered this band, but it just completely changed my brain chemistry, and there's no better way to put it. I religiously listened to this band still, and when I discovered it, I was like, okay, I need to like commit myself to knowing this band through and through, and just getting to see them live. Like it was a life goal of mine. And this band is Opeth, and uh, and guess what? I saw them live, okay, last year, and it was an out of world experience. Before Opeth, I had a few bands that I was a big fan of. At that point, I was already a big Porcupine Tree fan. I talked about Rammstein already. I was listening to some Merciful Fate as well, Iron Maiden, but I wasn't like vast in my knowledge of bands and such. And when I listened to Opeth, I was like, okay, there's got to be so much good shit out there, and nothing that topped Opeth, but I did indeed discover a lot of good shit, and I don't think I would have delved myself if not for Opeth. So extremely grateful for Opeth.
Were they good live when you saw them live?
I saw them live in New Orleans, just October last year. So the new album wasn't out yet, but they only had played Paragraph 1 and Paragraph 3 live. But I mean, they played shit like Leper Affinity, Hair Apparent. I mean,
They,
I I I think I cried during Deliverance. It was, dude,
that's a banger song. That's one of my favorite Opeth
my
songs.
God, dude. They play so live. It's unbelievable. Michael is such a fun person. These guys behind me, they kept asking for Harlequin Forest to be played. They kept going Harlequin Forest, Harlequin Forest, and Michael got so tired of it at one point. He was like, "Excuse me, we don't take requests." They never talked about it again. That was that.
I love
Um,
it when the bands shut the crowd up like that.
oh,
That's
dude,
funny.
yeah, when they shoot the crowd, yes, but at one point I yelled, "I love you, Michael," and he said, "I love you too, son." That was definitely
Awesome peak.
yeah, that was peak moment right there. I loved it.
Good pick.
Let me look up the whole set list so I can tell you guys.
Okay, are
Yeah.
they
Okay,
all going to mention Opeth? The point in this?
I don't think I am.
can I tell you guys the set list for the concert?
Yeah, of course.
So I listened to in order: Paragraph 1, Leper Affinity, The Grand Conjuration, Demon of the Fall, Eternal Rains Will Come, In My Time of Need, Face of Melinda, Hair Apparent, Paragraph 3, Ghost of Perdition, and then the encore was Sorcerers and Deliverance.
Oh, it's a peak set list.
Dude,
That's
it
an
was so.
insane set.
It was.
How
It
long
was
was it?
so. It was about an hour, like 40-ish, but the whole concert was probably like 2 hours, a little over that. Yeah.
Was there an opener?
Yes, Tribulation.
Ooh.
I'm seeing them
That-
very soon.
Yeah, that's when I discovered Tribulation, and they fucking killed it. They really, really killed it. It was a very welcome discovery for sure.
I'm seeing that band in like a month. Stockholm.
Yeah, you're gonna like them. Super, super good. Super good live. They dress up, they're very, very heavy live.
I mean, to check them out.
Yeah,
They're super
Alright, Vito, it's
gay.
your turn.
they're very good.
Yeah, so it's my turn now. So,
Yes.
a band that changed my life. So I'm going to talk about the band that made me a metalhead. So I talked earlier about how Pink Floyd was the band that got me into
Music.
rock, music, but most importantly rock music.
Mhm.
And after that, pretty soon after that, I started kind of listening to metal. I first listened to System of a Down, and I thought they were really cool.
I love System of a
And then
Down.
I got into like Metallica and Megadeth and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and Slipknot and whatever.
Mm.
I liked all that stuff, but I didn't like consider myself a metalhead until I heard this band,
I know.
which is
Merciful Fate?
Dissection,
Okay, that section.
Knew it.
because Storm of the Lightsbane was the first extreme metal album that I fully listened to, and this millisecond I heard it, I was like, holy shit, metal is the best genre to have ever existed. And I think had I not listened to that album, I don't think I ever would have become a metalhead. I think that album completely changed my point of view on music, and just I think if I had not become a metalhead, I would not. I'm already not very happy, but I think I would be much less happy than I actually am. If I did not discover extreme metal, like it has changed my life in every single way. So, I don't really. I obviously don't like John, as he was a fucking gigantic piece of shit, obviously. But
Working on that fact.
I like the music. Well, I like two of their albums.
I'm just glad.
I'm not going to talk about their third album.
I haven't even listened to that. I'm just really glad that stuff John believed in isn't in the first two albums.
Yeah.
But seriously,
That
I
guy
know
was
Rain Chaos.
absolutely fucking
Sorta.
deranged.
A band that I love, well, a band that changed my life. Sorry, wrong question there. Is Thin Lizzy. Now, Thin Lizzy are not my favorite band; they're my second favorite band. But I don't know how they changed my life. They just did. Their music just hits me in a personal way that not a lot of other bands can. Their music about love and about stuff like that, it makes me feel happy. They're a band I listen to all the time. I've made loads of friends through them because they're a band I think a lot of people, you feel very strongly about them when you become a diehard fan of them. And I've shared a lot of, one of my best mates, her favorite band is Easy. Me and her didn't shut up about it for ages, and I think they're amazing, and they just make me happy. And a lot of the time, I need bands that make me happy. And so, yeah, there's not really a reason they changed my life. It's just they did. I know it sounds super vague, but just how life is sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you just feel a personal connection. You can't explain it.
Yep.
Oh, they're a good
All
band. I like them as too.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they're another band I think you only get fully into them if you listen to the full albums.
Yeah, I've said it before. I think it's by far the best way to listen to music. I very rarely find myself listening to loose pieces of music.
Yeah.
I mean, what I normally do is I just listen to my creator or Opeth playlist or my black metal playlist or death metal playlist.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the 4 playlists I listen to.
I hear you.
But yeah, Nick, what was a band that surprised you in any sort of way?
Oh, my band here has never been mentioned on this podcast at all, not once. But I picked Opeth.
Huh. And why is that?
I never. I first listened to Opeth maybe 2023. I think I was because Farad was talking about them, and he's like, "Oh, I
2023?
should listen to them."
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was 2023.
Damn, that's
Victor's
recent.
never heard about the original reviews.
I'll get to them. Hold on.
All right.
So, what was I can't remember the first one I listened to. It might have been. I can't even remember.
It might be
It
My
was-
Arms Your Hers, since that's Rod's favorite.
Yeah, I think it was My Arms Your Hers. Yeah, it was. That's the one he told me to listen to. Yeah, I remember now. And I remember just being blown away because it was peak, so good. And I did a Discog listen after, and I didn't like Still Life at first on first listen.
Me neither. At first listen, I didn't either.
Thank God thank God
You're
I'm
not
not the only
alone.
one.
You're not alone. You're not alone. But I fell in love
And
with
now
Still Life.
it's-
I'm at fourth
Yeah.
time listening to it. I just understood.
I understood in my second, but that band is just magical, you know.
Yes.
I was listening to Morning Rise the other day, and it's just so good.
Bid You
It-
Farewell is
it-
the best Opeth song.
Bid You Farewell was so fucking
Which one?
good. Bid You
To
Farewell.
Bid You Farewell, to bid You Farewell is my favorite Opeth
Okay.
song.
Can you
Some
guess
of my
mine?
favorites as well. I'm gonna go Leper.
What's that?
Leper Infinity. Have you
Leper Affinity's top 5. It's not there. My 2 favorites. It's always been Blackwater Park, but
Peak.
it's always been Blackwater Park. But I'm kind of leaning Heir Apparent as of late.
That's so easily their
Honest-
heaviest song.
Dude, Heir Apparent is it's so ridiculous. How do you come up with some shit like this? It doesn't even follow like logical music structure. Makes no sense.
It's just unique.
I don't know. I definitely think it's probably their most unique song, which is insane to say, given how many unique songs they have. But
Yeah, that song just becomes like a death thrash song halfway through.
so right, and it probably has their best riff, in my opinion. With the double guitars, it's probably my favorite riff. So it's probably my favorite song, but it's big praise. There's songs like Deliverance, there's songs like Leper Affinity, Lakota Park, Benighted, White Cluster. I absolutely love. You talked about it already. Bid You Farewell. So,
I think my favorite. I'm really liking Baying of the Hounds lately.
That song is so fucking underrated. I love that song so much.
It's so
Okay.
catchy.
Dude, it has a fucking breakdown on it, and it's actually good. It's crazy.
I've been listening to that song a lot lately.
A breakdown followed by a fucking crazy good guitar solo.
It's your
and the
turn now,
amount
Peter.
of the amount of things I've or just the things I've seen people talk about Opeth. Because when I first started listening to them, I thought they were a disliked band. Most of the things I used to read on them were like pretty negative, and like I guess it was like a lot of because I was mostly in prog spaces back then, so maybe it was too heavy for prog heads at the time. I'm not sure, but so maybe it surprised me a little bit as well. Now that I think of it, because I completely fell in love with it.
Also, probably elitists. I probably hated on them too.
hmm
It's your turn now, Vitor.
Yes, a band that surprised me. So for this one, I was already getting into black metal. This wasn't my introduction to black metal, but the way that I discovered this band was through a friend, a Lord of the Rings friend, I should add.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
And
I know.
and he's not a black metal guy. So he told me, he was like, I checked this out and I didn't like it. See if you like it. And I was just then getting to black metal, so he didn't know I was already kind of getting into that, right? So his introduction of it, I was kind of like, I was pretty reluctant. I was not expecting a lot. And this band is Summoning, obviously, um, probably top 5 favorite bands for me. I just love everything about it. I love the album covers, and I'll keep talking about album covers just because for some reason it's such a big deal to me. I love looking at a good album cover. Maybe that's why I love LP so much. But anyways, they have phenomenal
Don't tell
covers.
other Nick
That's
about
all.
that.
Yankee Nick.
I mean, I look at a cover like Let Mortal Heroes Sing Your Fame, right? And I'm not saying that I like somebody because of their aesthetics. I'm getting there, right? But I do love their aesthetics, and um melodies are just so beautiful. There's some insane riffs. I love the vocals, and I completely fell in love with the band from the get go. My first album that I listened to was Old Morning Soul, and that's what he sent me, and it's still probably my favorite album to this day from Summoning. I interchange between 3 albums. Sometimes it's Old Morning Zone, sometimes Minas Morgul. Well, actually 4 albums: Old Morning Zone, Minas Morgul, and then Stronghold, and Lemor Hero Singer Fame. But usually Old Morning Zone. But
Yeah,
I've only heard in the
I'm
Smoggle.
fully with you on this. Summoning is my second favorite black metal band, after Dissection, of course. So I fucking love them. I think all their albums are great. Minas Morgul
It's
is
gonna be
fucking
dude,
top
1995,
tier.
bro. It makes no sense. 1995 might sound somewhat recent, right? Because there's been
I
revolutionary
mean,
albums made
it's
in the
30
70s
years
and
ago.
80s. Right, I know,
Yeah.
but a revolutionary album, 1995, with how it was made, you really have to listen to black metal to understand what it is. Like
Yeah.
you can't explain something like this to like a casual listener, I guess. And I'm sounding like an elitist, but it's really true. Like this album
Because
is so far ahead of its time. It's not even funny.
atmospheric black metal really wasn't a thing in '95.
And
Considering
I mean, just the
Burzum,
production
what
as
was
well.
a thing?
It's
Yeah, Burzum was pretty much the only one doing that type of stuff. I don't know why you don't listen to Burzum when that album exists.
True.
yeah. I've listened to an interview by Selenium and Protector. No, it wasn't Selenium and Protector. It was just Protector for this interview. And I don't remember what the channel was, so I apologize for the no shout out here. But one of the questions was, um, what is your favorite Summoning album? And he instantly said Minos Morgul just because of the work they had to put in. And I don't know if it was speaking on the musical aspect of it, but definitely his favorite album to a sense of why he holds closer to his heart. And he said Minos Morgul just to how they came to make that album with things that just weren't available at the time, right? They literally had to create techniques to make this album. You can easily make something like that today with what we have today, um, instruments wise, but very far ahead of its time.
It's crazy. I actually listened to that album for the first time last week.
Yeah, I recommend it to you.
And it's not an easy album to digest, like at all. But
Oh, it's like an hour and 10 minutes long. It doesn't feel like that. Every minute keeps you engaged.
yeah, it does keep you engaged. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Tolkien nerd, so I obviously
Me as well.
love
Yeah,
Summoning a fuck ton.
yeah.
It's your turn now, Vito. Wasn't by
It is my turn. So this is a band that my close friends are gonna know because I've been yapping about them a lot.
Mm.
There's a band called Swallow the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Peak.
Yes.
So I'd heard up until like a month and a half ago, I'd only heard one of their albums, which was New Moon, and I'd only listened to it once, and I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I didn't like super wow me, but then I did an album trade with Mr. Sebastian Seb, And he told me to listen to Songs from the North, the entirety of it, and I did. And my mind was completely and utterly blown. I instantly fell in love with that band, and I listened to pretty much that album and only that album for like a month straight. And I mean, yeah, I did not expect to like them that much, but it's my third favorite album of all time now. So
That's a bit of surprising.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm gonna let Connor go now.
All right, so I think I went a slightly different direction with this question than you lot did, but I picked the band that surprised me live. I picked the band that I know Nick's heard. I'm not sure if the other two of you have heard. A band called Celestial Sanctuary.
Yes.
They are very much bolt thrower worship. If you like bolt thrower, if you like that kind of British style of death metal, the somewhat doomy riffs, the chugging. So they're so good. I saw them opening for a band called Frozen Soul, who are another kind of that type of band who I really like. The first band on that bill, I'm not going to name them because, to put it simply, they were shit. They were so bad. They were so boring, and none of the crowd were into it. And I was kind of there, and I was with my dad, and me and my dad were kind of like, is this show going to be one of those that's just kind of boring? Are they good on album, bad live? Is the crowd not going to be into it? As soon as Celestial Sanctuary came to the stage, they just tore the place apart. There were pits going. There were I got a set list for I got the set list on my wall. I got a guitar pick from the guy and the singer. They're just phenomenal, and they were phenomenal live. I checked out their album when it came out. I thought their album was phenomenal. But yeah, completely shocked me. Went into that there not knowing who they were. Came out a massive fan of them. So yeah, Celestial Sanctuary, and I highly recommend listening to them if you have not for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
No, their 2023 album was one of the best of that year.
Yeah, that was such a good album. That was just after I saw them. Yeah. All right.
Production's really good on their music too. It's
Very
also classic sounding.
Yeah. All right, on to a fun one here. We're all probably going to get mocked by everyone around us, but Nick,
This is a fun question.
What artist is a guilty pleasure for you?
To be honest, I really don't believe in guilty pleasures. You like what you like. This is not really anything. But for the sake of answering it, I like a lot of hip hop, as people in you guys probably know. My favorite rapper is Lil Uzi Vert. Shut up, Connor.
Lil Midverse.
Lil Midverse.
Shut up. Shut up. You're Danish. But I like a lot of hip hop, like Uzi, Cardi, Thug, Kendrick, Nas. Also like white girl pop music, like Carly Rae Jepsen, Chaperone, all that. It's just good fun.
I've seen you talk about Chaperone recently. You kind of just discovered it, right?
Yeah, it would have been in February, about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, not that recent. Yeah, I've seen that arc on Twitter.
And she's already one of my most listened to artists this year.
That's cool.
I won't talk about that one, but Uzi and Carti are gonna. The two questions gonna be based. All right, Vitor, it's your turn.
Yep. I think you guys might know my answer to this, and it's Coldplay.
Coldplay.
Listen, guys. I think they have a lot of good songs. Now, listen, if you listen to anything after, I like to visualize it. Let me see. Viva La Vida is kind of like the hardest cutoff. There's some good songs there. After that, it gets really poppy. For me, personally, for my taste, a little bit too poppy. That being said, my girlfriend loves it, so I listen to it, obviously. I'm going to their concert. That was one of the things I was hinting at the beginning of the episode. Upcoming concerts. I have a concert for Coldplay in June. It's gonna be with family. I'm excited for it. They're gonna play a lot of the songs that I like. A lot of songs from A Rush of Blood to the Head. I don't know if they're playing anything from Parachutes. I have a Parachutes LP. I like this album a lot. Oh, they're playing some stuff like Yellow, and they're playing, I think, Shiver. I think. Anyways, they have some good stuff. It was kind of fits the criteria of one of the first bands that I listened to as well. So it definitely holds a spot in my heart.
There's definitely worse bands out there you could have picked.
As a Brit, I've been forced to listen to them my entire life, and I'll be honest,
No, they're popular here too.
But over here, they're homegrown heroes, and Fix You and Yellow.
What you get for living in England?
True.
And also, they have some really good progressive rock songs. Like Coloratura, I feel like progressive rock is, as good as it gets, really, for progressive rock. It's that good, actually.
It's definitely worse bands I could have picked.
Probably, but I know Connor would give me shit for it. I thought it would fit.
He's going to give you shit regardless.
All right.
Well, another guilty pleasure, just for the sake of it. Sorry.
All right, we all know what's coming up for me, and we all know I'm going to get mocked endlessly. All right, so we can still get. All right, but before that, B1dd0, what's your?
So, I couldn't really think of one here, so I just went with Ghost, since that's really the only band that I could think of.
I love Ghost.
Ghost.
Like I said earlier, I'm going to be seeing them live in May, which is going to be pretty cool. There's not really much to say about Ghosts. They're just they're a fun poppy band. I'm not the biggest fan of like poppy music, but if it's fun, I can enjoy it.
There's some quality metal there from Meliora and before.
Yeah.
Like quality metal.
Yeah, they're a good band. I like Ghost. I don't understand the whole Ghost is a metal thing. Well, they're pretty metal.
Well,
they're not heavy, but
Not metal anymore.
Their first album is metal, but after that, I'd say they're more like hard rock / pop rock.
They're like
their first album's like doom metal.
They're like Blow Oyster Cult for like modern day.
Yeah.
That's basically what they are, with more theatrics.
Yeah.
I love their covers.
Yeah, they've got good albums.
They've got amazing cover art.
The first album's like straight doom metal. It's a good album.
Yeah, I don't know about straight doom metal. That's a bit much, but
No, it's doom metal.
Like occult, what the hell that is.
Dude,
Occult rock. That's a good. That's a good genre.
We can't get Seb to talk about. We cannot let Seb talk about fucking Ghosts. He's gonna say Seb's just gonna talk about how fucking that.
It's a really inside joke because it's a group chat that no one here is going to be in. But one of our friends said that, was it Elizabeth sounds like Gypsy by Merciful Fate?
Yeah.
Was it that song? It just sounds like
it was.
And then I went, oh yeah, but no, Running Wild by Judas Priest sounds like Wicker Man. And he was like, no, it doesn't. It's the exact same riff and the exact same chord progression for the whole song. But, okay.
Didn't you say that? Didn't you say that some other song sounds like Running Wild?
He said no. He said like, what was it? He said, didn't he say Poison sounds like rats?
Yeah.
Poison by Alice Cooper sounds.
Yeah, I remember.
No.
He did. And then I had to put together a video of like the two like stitched together to show them they all they do the same is like say
There's like
a
kind of similar bass line.
They go like duh, 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 and that's the only similarity in the entire song. So it was like, yeah, they ripped them off.
Do you guys prefer Opus Eponymous or Festus Summon?
Opus.
Don't really.
Yeah, I think I like Infest, but I like Opus more.
Like,
It's
Infest
really
is
close
one
to
of the
me.
weaker albums, in my opinion.
I think Infest like has 3 or 4 good songs. The rest I
Yeah.
just find forgettable.
Yeah,
It's
same.
I just don't. I think the Ghost, even on their later albums, which most some people don't like as much, I think you
Mhm.
can at least say they're very memorable. Each song is very apart. Infest is the only album where I think songs kind of blend together, and it just does. They went for an aesthetic. I think they succeeded at it. It's just not an aesthetic I particularly have.
I think Emperor was a really good album.
Yeah, I really like it.
I like that.
I'll be
And
honest.
probably
I like
honestly one of the probably because that a lot of the guitars on that album were done by Frederick from Opeth,
I did not know that.
That's why I like
which is
that.
pretty cool.
I did not know that.
And I'm
that
pretty
makes
sure
sense.
I'm even pretty sure on one song on one of the earlier albums, I don't remember which song it is, but Michael from Opeth does a little acoustic guitar. I don't remember which song it is, but
I did not know OPEF guys were such ghost guys. That's
yeah,
fun.
no, yeah. What's it called?
Yeah,
Oh, Tobias
they're
and
friends, I
Michael are
think.
good friends. They're very good
Oh, that's
friends.
nice. That's very fun. But yeah, to answer my previous question that I asked you guys, I do think Opus is the best album, but I do like Investment a lot.
I think Meliora is probably my favorite.
Opus and Melior is my
Dude,
favorite.
I instantly fell in love with Meliora when I listened to. Well, I like Spirit, but when I listened to the beginning of From the Pinnacle Tip, I was like, yeah, this album fucking slaps. And
I think Melior is like the perfect mix between their heavier early stuff
yes,
and then
for
more
sure.
like melodic poppy later stuff.
I love their
I'm
choruses.
probably gonna come back.
Yeah.
I
will
think
say-
the reason
no.
why Ghost gets so much hate is because their music doesn't fit like what they kind of
yeah,
want to
they look-
sell.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't sound like how they look.
It's also because I think
they look like
Tobias,
black metal
Tobias started with Repugnant, so a load of people who liked
Yeah.
Repugnant then heard Ghost and were like, wait, this isn't. Well, you broke up Repugnant and you made this.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I kind of get that. I don't agree with it, but I do kind of understand being
It's like a
annoyed.
bit, but and nowadays, it's a Ghost hates is unwarranted.
No,
Yeah.
I'm.
Yeah, I think it's gotten out of control personally. Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan.
A lot
of
of
the
people
new
just
single.
hate. A lot
I
of
don't-
people just hate to hate at this point.
Yeah.
I think the new single just sounds like they're taking it way too far in the poppy direction. But that's
Yeah,
just.
I think
Nah,
more.
bro.
I think
It's very poppy, but I like it. It's catchy, so
it's good song.
I've tried like 5, 6, 7 times. It just hasn't clicked yet. Maybe it will. Maybe it will in the context of the album. Which I think you've
Yeah,
always
so maybe I do.
factor in.
Well, Connor, let's hear your guilty pleasure.
I was meant to say okay, that one.
yeah. Let's
I-
hear it. Let's hear it.
I tried to
Yeah, I
sidestep
wonder
around.
what this is.
I tried to go for bands I used to listen to. You know, I tried to go for like, I think of Slipknot, something like that. You know, I don't really listen to them anymore. So I was like, okay, can't pick them. Sabaton I used to listen to a lot. Don't listen to them anymore. Can't pick them.
Yeah, just chop.
I used
Come on.
I even used to listen to baby metal quite a bit because my sister really liked them. Sorry, sibling really liked them. And I saw them live and they're great live, but don't listen to them very often. And I want to preface
Chop.
this by saying, I know Manowar are shit. I know Manowar are shit. They're sellouts.
chop.
They're sexist. They're pricks. They're random bass solos in their albums. They've not released an album I care about since the 80s. They charge too much for anything. They, for some reason, have cash-only merch stands at their shows just to rip off their fans even more. Their guitarist was a pedophile, and a bunch of other stuff. But I find their first
Come on, say it.
6 albums really fun. Yeah, I've said it. It's Manowar. Everyone knows it's Manowar.
Good. All right, there you go. Now you heard it.
I completely understand the hate for some of their stuff, but I
All of their
personally
stuff.
think-
Should be
no,
all of it.
because I think the Hail to England, despite the fact they're Yanks and put a British flag instead of an English flag, because Americans are dumb, and Sign of the Hammer, I think are just good albums. Like, I think flat out, apart from a couple not sketchy lyrics, but apart from a couple cringe lyrics, are just good albums. I don't get the hate for those. The rest I completely understand. I completely understand hating them. They have needless bass solos just because Joey DeMaio thinks he's the greatest bassist of all time. One of their albums has
a grandpa reading his son a story for 4 minutes before the final song. One of their albums also has a song called Pleasure Slave on it, which is just as sexist as you might imagine. Yeah, I completely understand why people hate them. I just find them really fun. Specifically, Sign of the Hammer, Hail to England. But yeah, I know everyone hates them, and I get that.
For good
But-
reason. They're horrendous.
You've only heard one album and you started to like it.
No, don't put words into my mouth. I said one part of it was good.
Yeah, Manowar, the
Like, it was
title.
like 10 seconds.
No, it wasn't. You were like, this song's good, and then realized you should hate it. Just like every.
No,
yeah.
no, no,
Manowar
no,
is like a
no,
big
no,
side.
no,
Just want
no,
to hate.
Connor,
There's
no.
big
You're
woke
putting words into my mouth.
Manowar down because Manowar sing about.
No,
Manowar sing
you're putting
about
words
stuff.
in my mouth. I said one part of a song. As one, like 20 seconds of a song. That was it.
But Manowar do have great lyrics, such as all the times they reference
No.
themselves in their music. That's always good. Like when they say
Hold
they're
on,
the
hold on.
kings of metal, or telling wimps and posers to leave the hall because they're really fucking cringe. But yeah, I love Manowar. I completely understand why people hate them. They're shit. But yeah,
Uh,
I hear you.
Vitor, you're going to have to go next because my mum needs help with something real quick. So I'll be
Okay.
like 5 minutes.
I go ahead. So now
What's
it's best show live, right?
the best band you've seen live?
All right. It's really only between two. I've seen not that many concerts. I've seen a few concerts, but the two that come to mind is Opeth and Steven Wilson. And I could say ways that Opeth was better, and I can say ways Steven Wilson was better. And I think Steven Wilson was the best concert I've been to. And the reason why I say this is one, my dad wasn't able to make the Opeth concert, and it pains because he's also a Opeth lover, and he was not able to make that concert. Hoping that he gets to make it eventually, but I'm sure he will. I think they're gonna come here more times anyway. He was there with me for the Steven Wilson concert, and Steven Wilson was my very first concert. So, having actually my very first concert was Yes. I don't think it was Steven Wilson. I have to remember the order, but one of the very first concerts I went to was Steven Wilson. So I think it probably just meant a little bit more that it was my favorite artist. You know, and it's such a small venue. It was not even 200 people, and it meant a little bit more. It was great. I don't have much to say about the concert itself other than it was beautiful. The set list was perfect, and I'm seeing him again. That was the second thing I was talking about the concerts earlier. I'm seeing him again in October. It's gonna be another road trip. It's gonna be in Atlanta. That's about what I think a 12-hour, 10-hour drive, something like that. And my dad's coming for that one as well. So both excited.
I do like Steven Wilson quite a lot. At least his music. He's a bit, but
Yeah, well,
he's spoken.
I tend to have a trend of just liking asshole artists. The kindest artist that I like, I guess, probably Michael.
I think when you're a metal fan, you kind of have to just suck it up
You
and
kind of have to.
understand
You
that.
kind of, you really do kind of have to. But Michael and Steven Wilson are great friends. Ironically,
Yeah, because didn't he play? Did he play keyboards on Damnation?
so I know
I mean,
Steven Wilson.
he's produced like 7 Opeth albums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steven Wilson has been a part of a lot of production in Opeth, and Michael has also worked with Steven Wilson and some other.
Storm
Obviously,
Corrosion.
Storm Corrosion, and it's also great. Really, really good.
Yeah,
Whatever
it's
they
really
have.
good.
It's really, really good. And Steve Wilson also has Black Feud. I'm not sure if you guys listen to that. And I don't know if Michael has any involvement with that, but it's very upbeat, progressive rock, very catchy. It's very, very good. But other than as far as their involvement together, it's mostly Storm Corrosion and some work done in OPEF. Yeah. Did you guys know that So my favorite song of all time is Anesthetize, which is a part of Fear of a Blank Planet. Alex Lifeson from Rush actually wrote a lot of the guitars for the song.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm back, guys. By the way.
How are you, Nick?
All right.
I was just
Yeah, sorry,
telling
I
them.
just need help getting there.
You good?
Sorry, you go first.
No, I was just
Yeah.
telling them how the best concerts I've been to were Steven Wilson and Opeth. But the reason why I chose Steven Wilson was because it was one of the very first concerts I went to, and my
That's fair.
dad was there for the Steven Wilson concert. He was unable to make the Opeth concert, so probably just meant a little bit more,
That's fair.
And it was a
Kinda
small
happy.
venue. Forgot to say that it was a smaller venue for the Steven Wilson.
Small venues are better for concerts.
Oh yeah, bro. Not even 200 people in it. Absolute banger.
And sorry, Mom needed help. She got a coffee machine. She needed help bringing it inside.
All right. Well, now that's sorted. Nick, what's your favorite live show you've ever seen?
So I've only been to 2 concerts. My first one was AC/DC in 2015. And my second one was Creator and In Flames last year. And
So
out of
you're
the 2,
taking the latter.
I'm taking. I preferred the Creator concert
Okay.
because a much smaller venue and it's just awesome. It was only how many people there? About maybe 400 people.
Oh wow. For creator?
Yeah, it was like in a.
Wow.
Oh, maybe it might have been more. Maybe 500. It
But,
wasn't a
I
very
mean,
small.
Wow,
It
it's
wasn't.
still
It
that's
wasn't a very
pretty.
big.
Yeah, that's pretty
The event,
small.
I would say it's probably about 500 to 1,000 from the pictures I've seen that you took.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people. There.
Okay, but like
Was
creator
it?
can fill up a decent venue, right?
I mean,
Like,
if it's In Flames too,
Yeah,
those guys sell out stadiums in Sweden.
yeah,
Yeah, but
like
that's
Yeah,
like,
but not here.
Yeah, no, I know, not there, but like still.
Nick, what venue was it?
Oh, I can't remember. Hold on. Let me have a look. Creator, Melbourne. It was
The
at the Forum. Yeah, the Forum.
The capacity there is up to 2,000 standing and 800 seated. So
No, I'm not sure if it was sold out or not, but
yeah,
it was
looked.
packed.
It was. It definitely looked like a more intimate.
Yeah, it's a very good show.
It wasn't like a stadium or like an arena.
No. It's peaked there.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah,
Yes.
don't have it now.
So I also haven't been to too many concerts, but there's one concert in particular that I went to last year that was easily the best concert I've ever been to.
Mm.
And that was I saw Cannon Fever and Panzerfaust.
oh yeah.
Peak.
Nice.
It was a very tiny venue. I don't think it was more than 100 people. Panzerfaust. My only problem with Panzerfaust's set is they had the volume turned up probably higher than it should have been. Like it was higher, like it was like significantly higher than Cannon Fever's set later. I don't know exactly why, but I mean, both of those bands are really, really good bands. I mean, Panzerfaust's new album from last year was my album of the year, so getting to see them live was really cool. And then Cannon Fever are also, a sick live band as well as just a sick band in general. So they both put on an amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Cannon Fever's frontman was so unbelievably energetic. Like that motherfucker got the crowd going. Like it was like he didn't really even speak to the crowd, but like the crowd was still Very, very fucking yeah. It was a fucking sick show. The only thing that sucked is that since the show is in Stockholm, which is a 2-hour drive away from me, after the show, or first of all, the main thing that sucked is that first of all the show got delayed by 1 hour, because the tour bus got delayed. Like the tour bus got like stuck in traffic or something like that. So I had to wait an extra hour to get into the show. And then we were driving home from the show because it's like a 2-hour drive. It became a snowstorm when we were driving home, which meant that on the highway we had to drive super, super slow. So the 2-hour drive became a 3.5-hour drive.
Sweden moment.
So the show was originally supposed to, like, we were originally planning to get home by like 11. And we got home at 3 a.m. So yeah, that kind of sucked, but it was worth it though because the show was amazing.
I've seen clips of Canano Fever on TikTok. They sound really good live.
Yeah, they're great live.
When I saw my favorite band of all time, which is Blackwater. They're a band called the Night Eternal opening, who are a very good kind of traditional metal band. Very small, so I respect them for bringing a band like that out with them. But Blind Guardian were just amazing. Hansi's voice has not aged a day since the 90s. They played a bunch of deep cuts from both the modern stuff and the old stuff. They played Banished from Sanctuary for the first time in a while because it was the 35th anniversary of that album, which is one of their like fastest, thrashiest songs. They played Majesty. They played a bunch of stuff from the God Machine, which is the most recent album. They played stuff from basically all their albums, except the only thing that could have made it better was if they played something from A Night at the Opera. They played like Punishment Divine, or had played one of my favorite songs of all time, which is and then there was Silence, which is their big like 20-minute epic that closes that. But I understand that song needs like an orchestra and stuff to make it fully come together. But I saw it with one of my best mates, who is also a massive Black Guardian fan. I mean, and we're right at the front and singing all the words, and yeah, it was
Didn't
just
they post
Pardon?
Weren't you in one of their posts on Insta?
Yeah,
Was it a different thing?
I was in there was a video because I was right at the front. But yeah, and what's it? And the only other negative was I had an exam the next day, and I didn't got any sleep, and it was like a 8 a.m. exam, and I went to bed at like 2 a.m. So I got like 4 hours of sleep. But oh well. And I did, and my mate came up to me and she went, "Well, why'd you go to a concert then?" And I went, "Mate, if it was my A levels the next day, if it was my big exam, I still would have gone to it because, well, Blind Guardian never fucking play here, just like every other band after Brexit happened. But I can't really complain because we've got an Australian in the call, and we get like 10 times more concerts than you do.
We get nothing.
Yeah,
Not a Opera is their best album, by the way.
No, but we'll go on that conversation another day. But yeah, hopefully with that segment, kind of you got to know us a lot more, got to know what we like, what we do, and what we're going to talk about mostly on this podcast. And so starting off, we're going to do the next segment, which is something we're going to do every week to try and highlight new stuff. We're going to all pick an album from 2025 to talk about. These can be good albums, these can be bad albums, these can be albums that disappointed us, albums that surprised us. They can be from throughout the year. They don't just have to be from the week that we're recording this, because we're recording this before it's going out. We're going to record some stuff out of order for that reason. But yeah, so Nick, do you want to start us off with an album you've chosen to talk about from 2025?
Pretty sure B1dd0 knows this album. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's called. Hold on. I need to look at the pronunciation.
Let's give it a good go.
It's called. Oh, it wants to load. Hold on.
Is it Tvasland or?
Stupid. Hold on, my internet's shitting itself. Give it a sec.
Go for it.
It's called Kremis by Grab or Grab. I don't know how to say it. I think it's German.
Seb recommended me that, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay.
It's atmospheric melodic black metal, and it came out, I think, just over a month ago. Yeah, Feb 21st. And the album cover is why I checked it out, because it's a really cool album cover, and I was actually really impressed at it. It was very well put together. The atmosphere that kept you engaged was also melodic, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I said
Very modern sounding, but also doesn't sound like shit. The production's very good on it. It's not too clean. It's not too dirty. It's perfect.
My pick is also a atmospheric black metal album. And Germany. I just keep talking about German bands today. This is Kremis by Grab.
same album.
That's the album I just talked about.
Yeah, I know. So, it's a phenomenal album. And there's been some others that I can talk about. So just because you just talked about them, I will think of something else right now. I've been listening to a decent amount of albums from this year. So just wanted to shout out because I did pick Kremis. And just goes to show how good of an album it is. But same genre, so we're not far from it. And this is Nightside by Grima.
Nightside.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that band.
Yeah, Grima is it's Russian, yes, and very good atmospheric black metal. Their discography has a bunch of good stuff. Namely things like Will of the Primordial and Rotten Garden, some of their best works. And Nightside has been getting a lot of buzz, and rightfully so. I think it's very creative, very atmospheric, and that just gets me. It's not hard to get me when it comes to atmospheric black metal. Obviously, it can't be shit, right?
It
But
doesn't.
it's not shit, right? It fits the mold for me.
Pretty sure I've got that album in my library that I've been meaning to get to.
But just to talk about Kremis a little bit since we both picked it.
The album was peak. I loved it.
Dude, I listened to the single. What was the singles that came out? I think the first single was the self-titled, or maybe it was Dipstick. I don't remember which was the. But I listened to one or two singles before the album came out, and I was like, I need to listen to this album. Like, I knew this album was gonna be good.
The first single was Kirkenmeister.
Oh, okay. And yeah, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And what do you interpret by looking at this cover? When you look at this cover, because it's like there's this shade, right, which I assume it's death, and this kid out in the cold outside a house, locked outside, I guess, and it's snowing, and he's taking away an empty plate.
Or is he giving them an empty plate?
Giving them an empty plate. Okay. And a light.
It kind of looks like one of those, like when you're a kid and your parents tell you about these scary monsters that would get you if you stay out too long by yourself or something.
No, was it? It kind of looks like that.
Okay.
When you hear, I know Bido especially will know this, but when you hear European folk tales, it looks like the art that goes with those.
Looks like that.
Yeah.
Like when you hear about yeah, it's very cool album cover.
And the album is very dark, right? and the album is
Yeah,
very,
it's-
very dark. So
also
it definitely
sounds
fits.
haunting. It's like hauntingly dark.
Yeah, like cold, right? Almost like
Yeah,
the
it's the album
cover.
cover. It's
Yeah, it's very, very similar to what you're gonna hear in this album, and it's a phenomenal album. It really is.
it's one of the best this year so far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's probably my second best this year.
It's probably my second or third best. As well. I talked about my favorite in another occasion, and I can get to that later. But thought it was a great fit because it was also probably the first album I was looking forward to. Once it was announced, because I had already, I was already expecting Druk, and I can get to Druk in a future episode, and
No, not
Steven's
Drew.
review. But I didn't know Grub. So when I saw this album announced on my Spotify, I was already looking forward to it because I thought the singles were super, super good.
Good pick. So what's on Nabida?
Bido, what's the 2025 album you
So, the album I want to talk about is an album called The Rituals of Resilience by Voidfallen.
I'm sure I listened to that.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
think
listened to it. You
I
listened
don't
to
think
it,
I did.
Nick. And it is
Yeah. Good album.
it is my second
Oh,
favorite album of the year so far, and it is like it's easily one of the best mellow death albums I've heard in a long while.
I'm
On
looking at the
every song
cover.
on it was
What a
great.
fuck fest.
It is like
It's a very good album.
Yeah.
it's just full on intensity. It also has a bunch of really cool it also has a lot of symphonic elements, which is really cool.
Yeah,
It
it's
works really well. Yeah, it's like
like
symphonic mellow
symphonic
death.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really good.
Exactly. It works really really well.
There you caught my interest with symphonic.
It is. Yeah, it's really good. I thought it was amazing. I enjoyed every song on it a lot. So
I did too.
highly recommend
Good
it.
album.
And they're from Spain. I don't think I know a single band from Spain.
Connor, your turn.
I'm picking my favorite album of the year so far by what I think will grow on me. When we're recording this, it's only been out for about 5 days, but I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times. And it's an album called Let There Be Dark by Tower. Now,
Yeah.
Tower are one of my favorite traditional metal bands from like the last 10 years. Have a weird history, formed, released one album in 2016, then broke up, reformed with a slightly different lineup, released their second album, Shock the System, which I stand by as one of my favorite albums of all time. It's phenomenal. It's ripping. Their vocalist, who I think she's called Sarah Beth, one of my favorite vocalists of all time. Her vocals are fucking awesome. And it's been 4 years since then. They've gotten their original bassist back. So I think it's pretty similar to the original lineup. And I don't like this album as much as their last one, if I'm being completely honest. But they obviously went for a different style. And I think that can't be misunderstood. They obviously went for a kind of darker, kind of more. They slowed stuff down. Shock System is a very thrashy, speedy, guitar solos everywhere, stuff like that. This goes for a lot more atmosphere. They expand their sound a lot more. And yeah, it didn't disappoint. Every time I've listened to it, it's gotten better and better. Vocals are phenomenal. The guitar work is great. Yeah, there's nothing really more to say. They're one of my favorite modern bands, and they really, really haven't disappointed with this most recent outing. So, I know, Nick, you've heard Shock System.
Yeah, good band. I like that album.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much other people here would like them, but they have a really good, thrashy nature to them. They have a very unique sound in a kind of genre that's kind of, I don't know what the word is. It's kind of a bit stuffed with a bunch of bands, oversaturated. They do a good job of standing out, which I think is very important.
The sound unique there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all of our 2025 albums, and we'll do that every single episode, just like the next segment where all four of us have put, I think it was it 15 albums each? It was 10 albums each, wasn't it? We put them all in a big
Something
spinny
like that.
wheel, and every week we spin the spinny wheel, and whatever album it comes out to, we talk about. It might be an album you'll love, might be an album one of us likes and the rest hate, might be an album some of us has never heard before. But we'll listen to that album, we'll discuss that album, and yeah. And the album that we got this week for the first time doing it, the first episode, is pretty much as classic as you can get. I don't think anyone will disagree with me. We'll get on to that. It's Beneath the Remains by Sepultura. And before we chat, I'll do a sort of bit of description for people who somehow have never listened to this band or album before. As their third studio album, it was their first signed to Roadrunner, which I think was kind of when Roadrunner started to properly become a known name. Because wasn't this when this was when they started signing more death metal stuff as well?
Yeah.
I would say yeah, true. I'd say it's what made Sepultura respected outside of Brazil and outside of South America. I think their previous album, this was what really started to make them more well known.
Brazil mentioned.
It's one of the most. It's one of their most beloved albums by their hardcore fans. I'd say Arise is the most famous and the most kind of beloved, but I'd say this is second. It saw them kind of, it saw them somewhat transitioning from the much rawer sound of Schizophrenia. This album has much better production, and people far prefer the songwriting. And it was received very well. Apparently, it was only made on like $8,000, which is crazy when you actually hear how this sounds. It was produced by the legendary Scott Burns, who was really making a name for himself around this time, producing bands like Obituary and Death. And speaking of Obituary, is this one which the original cover was then used on an Obituary album, wasn't it?
Was that?
I'm pretty sure Beneath the Remains was supposed to be an Obituary album cover.
Really?
I think it's... Wait,
or is it the other way around?
The cover of Cause of Death was originally the release. It was sorry. So the cover for Cause of Death by Obituary was intended to be the cover of Sepultura's album.
Okay.
But Roadrunner apparently sent the cover to Obituary instead for some reason, because record label.
Oh, good for Sepultura. I prefer Beneath's cover, in my opinion.
I thought the actual cover, one they got suits the album more.
Just apparently this, according to the Wikipedia article, which is, as we all know, 100% factual. Apparently this was influenced by Black Sabbath, early U2, and Corrosion of Conformity. Don't really hear any of U2 in here, but
I'm very confused everywhere. I am super confused by that.
Yeah,
U2,
maybe
the heaviest band of all time.
Very true. But the personnel on this is Max Cavalera on vocals and rhythm guitar.
Oh my
Igor
god.
Cavalera on drums and percussion. Andreas Kisser on lead guitar and bass, but was uncredited for the bass. And Paolo, I guess is how you say it, Paolo Jr., who is credited.
Jr.,
who is credited as playing bass, but apparently didn't perform on the album. And it has a bunch of guest musicians from people like Kelly Schaefer from Atheist, the vocalist of Atheist, Don Tardy of Obituary, a couple members of Incubus who all did backing vocals on Stronger Than Hate. But yeah, and Michael Whelan, of course, did the album cover. But yeah,
such a good album, man.
Pretty beloved album.
An amazing album.
I love
Connor. Don't speak.
Don't even start, Connor.
Connor, don't speak.
Oh, I think it's overrated. Shut up.
That's how I get bullied here.
I've never
You
really done
deserve
it.
to get bullied. That fucking
So-
horrendous take.
Nick, do you want to start off by talking about what you think of the album?
Oh, sure, why not? I love the sheer aggression. I love how raw it sounds. I love how brutal it sounds. But it's also not shit sounding. It sounds clean but dirty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it has much better production than the earlier albums.
Oh yeah, not
Yeah, like
even close.
Schizophrenia, that's a great album.
Especially compared to Troops of Doom. Troops of Doom is so dirty.
I like the dirty Sepultura sound, like on a, I can't remember what the debut's called.
Uh,
More
I'm not-
Visions, that's it.
Morbid Visions, yeah, I mixed up, yeah, not Troops, of course.
And I
Morbid
like that
Visions
production.
is great, but it's it is dirtier.
Yeah, but I prefer the Beneath the Remains production because it still sounds
Me
dirty
as
and you
well.
can hear the aggression more.
Yes.
And the songwriting is much better. Max sounds amazing. The drumming is fantastic.
Yeah, the brothers are just phenomenal.
Peak. I think my favorite part of the album, I know this is low hanging fruit, but the first song on the album, the intro, I like how it sounds like Call of Cthulhu by Metallica, like the same first chord progression.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same first three notes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just nice.
And is a title track your favorite song or no?
Yeah, I'd probably say that title track's probably my favorite. I don't
Okay.
know it's popular choice, but
I think it's
it's just
completely valid.
heavy. And you could
Very
say any
valid.
song on the album's your favorite, and you'd be right.
True.
For a long time, for me, it was Lobotomy. Oh my god, it's probably been Massive Hypnosis or Stronger Than Hate recently. Yeah, I mean,
Massive
Inner
Hypnosis
Self.
is a good pick.
Yeah, Sarcastic Existence is so good. I mean, Inner Self, the whole album. I'm hungry. I love this album. It's crazy that I love this album as much as I do, and to me, it's still behind Chaos AD and Arise. That's just how good I think Sepultura is. I love Sepultura. Obviously, it's not just because I'm from Brazil, okay, but there's definitely that aspect to it, like the little affection for it. I love
That's
Sepultura
totally fair.
through and through, and Beneath kind of built that because it was the first Sepultura album that I listened to. But then obviously I went back and I listened to Schizophrenia and I enjoyed Schizophrenia. I enjoyed Morbid Visions. I do think Roots is a little bit overrated as an album.
I thought most people hated Roots, honestly.
I also don't think it's that bad. I do think there's
I like
plenty of good songs there, but for a 16 title album, I don't see the volume, right?
It's the first album where there's cracks that show in the band.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously it falls down. And I'm not talking about Beneath. I'm talking about Sepultura as a whole. It doesn't have the best discography, but Beneath is definitely one of the highlights in the discography, and I absolutely love it.
I think Beneath is better than Chaos, but I like Arise more than Beneath.
So for me, it goes Chaos, Arise, and Beneath. In that order.
I like Arise, Beneath, and then Chaos.
That's valid. Arise is. You see, if I think about it too much, then I'm gonna put Arise. I always interchange between the two.
That's when you know the band's good.
Yeah. But I will say, Beneath is my favorite album cover from Sepultura.
Yeah, I see that.
Or
I think Morbid Visions is probably my favorite.
Morbid Visions is so good.
What are your thoughts, Peter?
I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot that I can say that you guys haven't already said. But I mean, yeah, it's a great album. Like you guys said, it's very heavy, still very raw. It's not like as raw and dirty as the earlier albums. And I would probably like if it was a little bit more raw on the production, but I still think it's great. I mean, the title track is absolutely amazing. also really like Inner Self. I think that was a banger. Or
I
that
love
song's a
Inner
banger. Same with Slaves of Pain. I really like that song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say than that. I don't
So I'm
think.
getting paid up for execution now, am I?
Yep.
Yep, we'll save it for last.
Before what everyone will say on this, because it'll come off to people that don't know me as if I hate this album. I don't. I like this album. It's a good album. That's about it for me, and that's about it for me with the entirety of Sepultura. I don't get why I like them. They're fine. That's about it. I don't know. I understand their impact. I understand their influence.
Yeah, Chaos AD is one of the most revolutionary albums of all time in the genre.
They just do.
Peak lyrics on that
they-
album too.
They
Yeah.
just do. They don't. If this makes sense, they don't impact me like personally in a way that other thrash bands do. Specifically with this album is where I'll be honest, they start to annoy me. I like Schizophrenia. That's my favorite full length by them. I think Bestial was my favorite release by them. I think that's dark and heavy, and it's kind of what I want to hear from them. And Schizophrenia does that very well. This album, it doesn't feel heavy enough. It doesn't feel heavy enough to like just be like a brutal, like thrashy one, but it's not light and melodic enough for me to feel interested. It's kind of this weird middle ground where I just don't find anything that memorable about this album. I like the opening solo to Mass Hypnosis, or the opening to it. I don't think any song on this is bad. I don't think this is a bad album. I like this album, but I'd be lying if I said I understood why everyone liked it so much. But sorry for the disappointment there for people that don't know my opinion of Sepultura and think I'm just acting like I'm just slaying a pig. But
I actually thought you were gonna shit on that a little bit more.
no,
If you-
I
if you-
like
if
it.
you-
It is a perfectly fine 7 out of 10. I can listen to it. If someone puts it on, I'll listen to it and I'll be happy about it. I'm sure these songs would go crazy live, but I've really tried with this band. I've really, even people in this call who know I don't like this band, I've really tried to like this band. I listen to them every couple months just to try and find what's missing. I know I'm missing something, and maybe one day it will just finally click, and I'll go, oh, I finally get it. But I listened to Beneath twice or 3 times today. Didn't find it. I to be honest, I've listened to this album about 3, 4, 5 times overall. I can't tell you a single thing that happens in it. It's that forgettable for me. I cannot. There's no memorable riffs. There's no memorable moments. There's no memorable choruses. No memorable breakdowns. Also, I know I'm going to get shit for this. I hate their solos. Slayer gets so much shit for their solos. Sepultura are just as bad. I don't get their
Boo
solos.
this man! Boo this
Shut the fuck
man!
up. Just stop
Their
talking.
solos,
Boo
their
this man!
solos
I
are
cannot
just
believe
weird shredding that doesn't fit the song. This band just annoys me, and it annoys me that I don't like them because I want to like them. I really want to like them, and I will say Chaos AD is a good album. It's a much better album than this, in my opinion.
If you
But-
guys think this Beneath the Remains take is bad,
I
wait until
just-
you hear what he thinks about Arise.
Oh yeah, this is better than Arise. This is far better than Arise. Arise is not very good.
I'll just leave you
You
with
know,
this.
you know,
like,
Just
You've
stop
been
talking,
demoted.
Connor.
you're below Theo and Bash takes out, Connor. I'm sorry. You've just put fucking Sepultura in the same category as Slayer for solos. You need to be locked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
yeah, nah.
They're the same kind of so. I'm not tripping it. They're the same kind of solo. At least the early stuff.
Huh.
They're just like, yes.
You need to be locked up.
No,
I'm sorry.
they're not as bad as Slayer. Like Slayer solos are like the musical equivalent, the solo equivalent of like Disturbed. But
I can't believe you've just compared. You've compared Kerry King and his whammy bar nonsense wankery to Sepultura. You know what? Shush. Be quiet. Just be quiet.
All right, listen. The
Oh,
only
yeah.
the only rebuttal I'll give you for this, okay, is that if it wasn't for Sepultura, Gojira would not exist.
Oh no, I'm not misunderstanding their impact. I think, especially for South America as a whole, they're phenomenal. They're one of the most impactful, influential bands of the '80s. I 100% understand that.
Pretty
I
much
I
metal in
understand.
general.
Yeah, I understand this album's great. I understand this album is, it's one of the most impactful albums ever. It kind of exposed the world to South American metal as a whole. It was very much the production. I would say the production of this album is fucking amazing. But it's Scott Burns, so of course it is.
Mm.
I understand this album's great. It does nothing for me personally, and that's my main issue with it. It just doesn't impact me the way bands like Creator, Sodom, Voivod, Destruction, Testament do, for example.
And your favorite tankard. Can't forget that.
But if you, I'm going to make myself off a tankard so much worse than this. But
Tankard a fucking dog shit.
Tankard have one good album. It's the one album they stopped singing about fucking beer for 10 seconds. And then the next album is a song called Diary of a Slut. Yeah, cheers, man.
We
And
could
it's
do a
got-
segment on tankard in a future episode.
I'm not listening to Tankard album for that. It's not
No,
happening.
it's
Chemical Invasion is a good album. Zombie Attack is okay. Everything after that is fucking trash.
I'm
But no.
sorry, Connor, but you've been demoted to below Theo and dash takes after that.
Okay. Well, after I said I like this album, I just don't think it's that great.
No, it's the comparing them to
Yeah, it's
Slayer.
the guitar solos thing now.
That's
Maybe-
one of your worst takes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yes,
probably-
you are
No,
wrong.
not maybe you are.
Yeah.
There's no maybe you are wrong.
But I don't know. I just
Fucking Christ.
I heard it very the solos aren't bad. It's just they reminded me a lot of how Slayer does solos. And I think they fit the music. I just don't like the solos by themselves. They're just almost very shreddy, but with no real formatting. That's the wrong way of putting it.
Mm.
I don't find that their solos memorable in the slightest. I find them just mindless shredding for the most part. That's my opinion. They're not as bad as Kerry King, but
No
But,
one is.
no, I don't think anyone's as bad as Kerry.
Fuck
No.
that fucking pisses me off.
Modern Kirk Hammett is worse than Kerry King. Modern Kirk Hammett is worse than Kerry King. Because Kerry King solos at least fit Slayer. They're shit, but they at least fit Slayer. Kirk
It's
Hammett,
shit versus it's shit versus polished shit at this point. They're both fucking horrendous.
very true. But yeah, feel free to kill me in the comments or wherever we post this.
Yes,
I-
fucking
I-
please.
I understand I'm incorrect. But I'm sure this will not be the last bad take we ever hear on this podcast because
Oh yeah,
we
no,
all
God,
have
no.
plenty of them stored up.
Yeah, I'll get to my Judas experience eventually. So
Too glad we didn't have Squashy on here and talking about Gojira.
Very true.
Fucking Christ.
But yeah, so that's it for the.
Kind of a
Yes,
long one, but
But a key thing that we're decided going forward, all four of us might not be in every single episode. In fact, all four of us are definitely not going to be because we have already recorded one where Nick wasn't in.
And I
So
was a bit sick.
So yeah. So all four of us will be in this when we can, but don't expect all four of us to. We'll have guests on, we'll have chats, but this should be the main format going through. So overall consensus on Sepultura is it's a very good album. Connor's just a bit dumb. And by a bit,
A
it's
bit.
very dumb. Yeah. So follow all of our social medias because we're really, really cool.
oh yeah,
Follow them for
Mm.
horrendous takes, as we all do daily.
No, not
no,
my,
I want the
not
best
my cat.
takes.
Not my cat.
They all say that. They
Your
all say
takes
that.
are horrible, Nick.
All of our takes are
Sure.
horrible. Let's not pretend like none of us have bad takes.
Name one bad take I have.
You don't like Dream Theater. You mentioned
That's
it.
a good take.
No,
That's a
it's
good
not.
take.
That's a L take.
An amazing
See?
take.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Follow, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goated.